Hello, welcome to JoyNews Room, coming to you live from our studios at Koko Mlemle, DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125, and around the globe at myjoyonline.com. My name is Carlos Caloni. Coming up, Food and Drugs Authority suspends operations of 4 sachet water producing companies in South Tong District after the authority identified contamination by microorganisms. And 20-year-old SHS graduate filling the gap for displaced school children in Mefe, one of the flooded communities in the North Tong District. We tell you about her identity as she offers free lessons to some of the children at one of the safe havens. Meanwhile, education think tank EduWatch Africa is calling on government to provide virtual learning interventions for school children affected by the floods so they are not left behind their academics. And in business, consumers advised to insist on quality of goods and services while shopping. We have details plus the latest in world news. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining us here on JoyNews Room. Now, the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has moved swiftly to suspend the operations of 4 sachet water producing companies in the South Tong District of the Volta region. Now, this was after the authority identified that samples collected from these companies contain microorganisms, making the water not safe for human consumption. Now, the exercise was part of measures to ensure public safety, taken into consideration flooding incident along the lower Volta following the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. Now, the Volta Region Director of FDA, Gordon Akrogo, was in charge of the team that carried out the exercise.
So FDA, together with Environmental Health, Ghana Health Service, came on the ground to ensure that all these facilities are visited. So far, we visited a number of facilities, and then samples were picked the last 3 days ago. And then, unfortunately, 4 of the facilities have been affected with water having microbiological issues. There had been a growth in the samples we picked, and therefore those facilities need to fix them. And then before we allow them to be come into the market. Their facility registered by FDA, but we think that certain systems are not working. That probably has made the bacteria to grow. And then the growth can have effects on consumers when they take it. So all those waters that they produce within that time frame has been detained for safe disposal. The facility has been suspended for us to help them fix the issues before they come back into the market. Some really have a system where they pick the water, they submerge a pump in the water where they pick and process, which at the end they give them safe water and quality water. Others probably have their own borehole where they have dug, and because now the aquifers is very rich of water, because there's submersion of water, there's possible seepage of water from the dam or from elsewhere into their boreholes, and that has also probably might have caused it. But we expected that they should have a system that will really sterilize the bacteria, kill the bacteria, or terminate the activity of those bacteria, which said that it will not affect the consumption of that water. Unfortunately, all those people we check had problem with a bit of systems, and on which we have advised them to fix it, and then we'll come back by Monday and pick samples and test before we can give them permission to continue production. As part of the regional district emergency response, I think NADMO are commandeering water from outside the district to serve people, distribute to people. This is one of the measures they have to solve for people from drinking from the valley. So, and also we are doing public education to educate people at this time they should avoid to drink water from the stream. So these are things that we are putting in place. But I think that the district and other philanthropists are putting system in place, serving water.
On this afternoon, Gertrude Nuchukwi, a 20-year-old senior high school graduate who has been displaced by the Akosombo Dam spillage, is dedicating her time at one of the camps to offer free lessons to children who have also been displaced due to the flooding in the Northern district of the Volta region. Now, Gertrude provides free lessons for the children 3 times a day, as she believes it's her own initiative to ensure the children make the most of their time during these challenging circumstances and continue their academic progress. There's more in the following report.
What can the eyes do? It can see, it can see. What can the eyes do? It can see, it can see. What can the ears do? It can. What can the ears do? It can hear, it can hear.
At the St. Kizito camp in the Northern district of the Volta region, Gertrude, a 20-year-old graduate of Akachi Secondary Technical School, dedicate more than 6 hours a day to providing free lessons for these displaced children. The academic calendar has been disrupted for thousands of such children, but Gertrude is determined to ensure that they use their time at the safe havens wisely to maintain their academic progress.
Just being home without going to school due to the flood, their classrooms not open for them to go to school. So 2 days ago, I was just sitting under the tree. They were playing, hurting themselves. So I just decided to get a board and a few desks, then teach them a little. Due to their difference in classes, I'm just doing something general for them, like parts of the body. They all have a general idea about it, so it's okay so far. Since we all know that it's best for kids to learn in the morning, since they'll get things more and clearly. So when it's morning, I allow them to eat. Then we gather around, do a few starters. Then I teach them. When it's about 2 hours later, they go for breaks. Then we'll come back again. Then we'll do other subjects as well.
You also give them homeworks?
Yes.
Tell us how they are picking these lessons from you.
Well, it's going good. It's going good.
What is the biggest challenge teaching kids you've never met anywhere and now getting to know them and all that? How difficult is this thing that you're doing?
I must say it's really difficult because some I have to take my time and know how they are, their individual characters and things. So in the class too, you see some playing, tell them to behave, but since you are new to them, so they find it hard to adapt to you. So
and concentration appears to be low.
Yes.
Because it's an open place. I know people are moving and all that. How are you trying to control that?
Well, when the class is going on for a while and I see they have divided attention, I bring in some rhymes to bring their mind back to the lesson.
Do you want to become a full-time teacher?
Not really.
So what's the motivation? I mean, what you're doing is really good. I mean, what's that motivating factor that is pushing you to help these kids?
Okay, I once taught in a private school. So that's where I had the basic training to do this.
What would you want to say to the government? Looking at these kids, they are here, they are not going to school because of the flood situation, and you have decided to volunteer yourself to teach them. What would you want to say to the authority with regards to their condition and what can be done so that their education will not be truncated?
Well, I appeal to the government to make it possible, if it will, for the water to reduce so that they can have access to their classrooms. And teaching without writing is difficult. So if they can get us some books, some exercise books and a few textbooks, it will be okay. And then we don't have lights over here. So during night time, it's very difficult to see things, some thieves roaming around. So it's difficult for the kids. So I just hope and pray that the government will come to our aid.
Her selflessness has caught the attention of Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, the Member of Parliament for the North Tongue constituency, who described her action as highly inspiring.
Remarkable, really touching, and it tells you the spirit of the Ghanaian, very resilient, and despite the challenges, she's displaced. She's here with her mother. She tells me that she's not even a trained teacher, but she has taught in a private primary school before, and she thought that instead of just whiling away time in the camp, why not, take the kids who have had the academic work disrupted through some lessons. And her own initiative, I didn't know about it. The district director of education does not know about it. But this is such a touching story, very inspiring, and I want to commend Gertrude for this. I have a surprise package for her, which we are not going to disclose, but we are so proud of her, and God richly bless you. This is the spirit, and this is what we want to see. We want to see more of this.
There are hundreds of children across the 8 affected districts whose academic calendar have been disrupted by the floodwaters. Gertrude firmly believes that her efforts at the camp will help these children stay academically on track. Reporting from Kizito campus here, my name is Carlos Kaloni for Joy News.
Away from the story, deploy virtual learning interventions to districts affected by the Akosombo Dam spillage and adopt an education and emergency plan. That is the call by the Africa Education Watch to the government. In a statement issued today, the education think tank is calling on the Ministry of Education to support the Ghana Education Service and the Center for National Distance Learning and Open Schooling, CENDLOS, to deploy pre-recorded learning content used during the COVID-19 school closure on media networks and energy-efficient mobile learning devices in the affected areas. For details on this particular story, I have been joined on the telephone by the Senior Program Officer at Africa Education Watch, Divine Pe. Hello, Divine. So do we know the number of children that have been affected so far per your research in these communities?
All right, thank you, Carlos. And let me start with conveying our sympathy to the affected family, and then also assure them of our support. At the Watch, we are also putting ourselves together to visit the community and do some intervention as far as education is concerned. When it comes to the number of students that are affected, we do not have the numbers, but we know that the situation has disrupted education in 3 main districts, i.e. North Tongue, South Tongue, and then through East. Other surrounding districts are likely to be affected in the coming days as the spillage continues. So for these 3 particular districts, education is totally disrupted and nothing is ongoing. That's actually informed our statement that there's a need for some level of intervention because to keep education running during crisis is also part of humanitarian services or support that actually needed to be given. So the Ghana Education Service, with the support of the Ministry of Education, we are calling on them to assess the situation, to see the impact and how they can support each other to keep education running in the district. And we have, in the interim, called the Ministry of Education to support the Ghana Education Service and then CENDLOS to deploy pre-recorded learning content. They were used during the COVID period, so it's not anything new that they are going to start over again. There are community radios or private radio stations around that are still broadcasting. They could give them to them for them to be using. And then also the district assembly can also closely work with the education directorates, whereby they can identify safe shelters for students to gather and practice and participate in virtual learning under this particular time.
All right. We know many of the schools have now become the center for holding these flood victims. And this is not the first time the Africa Education Watch is actually making such a call to have this plan in place just in case we have an emergency on our hand. If this is not done, what impact or what level of impact is it going to have on education, especially at the basic level?
Yes, you are right that this is not the first time we are calling for education in crisis to be ongoing. During the COVID crisis, we made a similar call, and then also asked the Ministry of Education to adopt and operationalize education in emergency plan. We actually need that. A lot of countries have that plan in place, such that when there is a crisis in any of their jurisdiction, they can trigger that particular plan so that education will not be unduly affected. Sadly, since 2020 to date that we made a call, little progress has been made in materializing that particular education in emergency plan. And you would have realized in our statement again that we are urging the Ministry of Education to ensure that this particular plan is in place and operationalized, such that when we get to instances like this, that plan can provide a form of guidance for teachers and other education stakeholders as to how to continue education. Because in times of crisis, students actually need to get education. Their education need not to be disrupted. Any learning loss that occurs can actually affect the progress we've made over the years in terms of student learning. That's why there are some semblance of learning needs to be going on. It may not need to be 8 o'clock a.m. coming to school and closing at 3 p.m. No, as the usual calendar. No, it can be just about a few hours of learning, especially in the areas of literacy and numeracy.
All right. So, Divine, finally, before I let you go, we are learning that the Ministry of Education will be visiting affected areas on Tuesday to assess the situation. From where you sit as an expert, where should their focus be when they visit these communities?
Yes, we mentioned that 3 communities have been badly affected already, and there are other communities that are likely to be affected. They need to assess, first of all, the impact. Are there safe areas that students can gather for learning? They need to understand that. Schools that are not yet affected, what are plans that they need to put in place for both teachers and learners? They actually need that. And then also make readily available the learning materials that students can also be using at home. That's very important. But beyond the Ghana Education Service, what they will do, we are also seeing interventions by corporate Ghana, and we commend them for that. One area we are not seeing donation coming from is in the area of learning materials. We urge corporate Ghana also that as part of their intervention, the food supplies and medicine supplies that they are doing, they include learning materials so that the learners, while they are at home, they can also be using. As I mentioned, we are also mobilizing ourselves in that regard to help the students in this particular trying time.
Thank you so much. Divine Kwe is the Senior Program Officer at Africa Education Watch. He's been sharing details with us with how the spillage of the Akosombo Dam is actually impacting education across those communities. But still on the Akosombo Dam spillage, Benedicta Atigodo, a 35-year-old single mother of 3 who has been displaced by floodwaters in Mepe in the Nocturne district of the Volta region, fears she could soon become a street person after the floodwaters recede. Now, Benedicta is a professional hairdresser, not only lost her personal belongings to the flood, but also her hairdressing salon, her family's main source of sustenance. Now, her current circumstances are exceedingly challenging, and providing for her children without a stable income is an immense struggle at the camp she now lives. Now, her greatest concern lies in the prospect of rebuilding her life once the floods subside. There's more in the following report.
This is the meal for 4 people. She herself and 3 of her kids. Clearly, this cannot suffice. But according to her, it's the only option. And this is the only meal for the entire day. There was no breakfast. This is going to serve as breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
This food is for myself and my 3 children. It is not enough, but we are managing it because I do not have any support from anyone.
How has this flood situation like a
Oh, hairdresser menu. Ta eshe konye da wonu pi koju de me ha iho ha filemeta eshe choko e me valegie. Nyenu obu ta ekio kumoko kovagie. Ninke.
So she's basically saying that everything is gone. The things we see here are the very few items she could salvage And these are the items she's using to take care of the 3 kids that she has. She is a professional hairdresser, but everything is gone.
They share relief items at this camp, but sometimes we queue without getting any. We like banku, so whenever I have some funds, I buy cassava dough to prepare for the family. This is where we sleep. These people helped us with some mats, and that's what we sleep on now. I keep asking myself, how do I raise money to buy all hairdressing equipment to bounce back? Where I am now, if I fall sick, money to go to the hospital is an issue because we are extremely poor. I come from a poor home.
This is Benedicta's family. Her firstborn is here. The secondborn is here. And this is the third. She's a single mother who has been displaced by this flood situation here in Mepe. Taking care of these kids has become Benedicta's biggest challenge. Her fear is where to move these kids to, because she has lost everything, including where she sleeps.
The first one is 13 years. My second child is 8. And the last one is a little over 2 years. I worry a lot about their future. I'm even considering giving the elderly one to stay with someone.
Benedicta and her 3 kids sleep in this tent for now. And her house has been destroyed in the flood waters. She's thus calling for assistance.
I need help from anyone watching me now because I have no one to rely on. I survive through my own efforts. My salon is gone. My rented room is also flooded. So if the soldiers dismantle this tent, I have no place to go to.
She's thus calling on authorities and benevolent organizations to extend a helping hand to her. Carlos Caloni, Joy News.
Away from the Akosombo Dam spillage, Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sir Sam Jonah, says it's a tragedy that virtues such as integrity, honesty, prioritizing national interests above self, among others, which are needed in overdose in Ghana's present circumstances, are missing in the curriculum of African students at all levels. Now, speaking at the 13th Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Lecture at the University of Cape Coast, he said there are important lessons from Kwame Nkrumah's life that are desperately needed to undo the deep damage in the management of African resources.
Brilliant, inspiring, sobering. Important lessons in leadership, priority of national interest above self, honesty, integrity, trust, lessons in how religiosity has affected development. These are all important lessons which clearly are needed in overdose in our present circumstances in Ghana and, of course, on the continent. It is, listening to the professor, it's a tragedy that these important lessons are not part of the everyday curriculum of African students at all levels. It was quite shocking to hear that indeed Nkrumah's books, which, as you recall, were burnt at the University of Ghana when Nkrumah was overthrown, an event which was done under the supervision of the American ambassador at the time, who happened to be African American, that these books are not actually even available in our campuses, let alone taught as courses. It is a tragedy. It is never too late. I hope and pray that anybody in influential position who has heard this fantastic lecture would hear what would also be said tomorrow. Know that Sankofa, there's nothing wrong with that. We've made mistakes. There are important lessons in this man's leadership journey which desperately are needed if we are to, as it were, undo the immense deep damage that we all know we have done in the management of our continent's resources.
Now, let's shift our attention to some road safety stories where the principal manager of planning and programs of the National Road Safety Authority, Henry Asumani, has disclosed that speeding contributes to 60% of all road collisions in the country. It also contributes to the severity of the crash and injuries. Now, speaking at a stakeholder engagement on the implementation of traffic technology, which is Traffic Tech in the Upper West region, he said, or he averred that the implementation of the automated system will reduce carnage on the roads. JoyNews' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam was there, and this report contains distressing videos which viewer discretion is advised.
Traffic Tech Ghana is an automated system developed by the Ghana Police Service to enforce road traffic laws and regulations to improve road safety in Ghana. The system uses cameras and sensors to automatically take a picture and or a video of vehicles that flood road traffic laws and regulations such as speeding and jumping off red light. Before its implementation, various stakeholder engagements has been held across the country to sensitize the public on the need to implement it in order to reduce traffic infractions. The stakeholder engagement in the Upper West region is therefore the third to be held in the country. The project is a collaboration between the Ghana Police Service, National Road Safety Authority, Department of Vehicles and Licensing Authority, National Insurance Commission, and other stakeholders. Director in charge of Education, Research and Training at the Motor Traffic Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service, Chief Superintendent Alexander Kwekuoben, says the ball rolling on the essence of the implementation of the traffic automated systems.
You are a vehicle driver trained, issues a license by DVLA. The maximum speed in town should not be more than 50. At certain places in town like Iwa, in the CBD, where you are approaching traffic lights, where schools are, among others, you cannot move above 30. And so, first, it is to check this behavior. Two, it will check our behaviors when we are approaching hazardous places like junctions, crossroad, T-junctions, and all that, where there are traffic lights and people, you are supposed to stop at amber and red, and people are crashed, running through amber and red as if they are chasing who, don't know, and vehicles are crashing preventably.
Acting Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, Engineer David Osofo Odantin, noted that considering the sea of road crashes in the country, the best option for now to reduce them is the automated system, which will have minimal human control.
Just this year, I'm sure the full statistics will be given to you. We have recorded 9,300 crashes as at end of August this year, and a number of deaths. About 1,400 of our compatriots, Ghanaians, have been buried, dead and gone. It is not weapons that kill them on the road, the vehicles. That human beings sit behind the steering wheel and they drive. The speeding, some of them as if they want to fly. If you hit the highway and you observe, you can see clearly what I'm talking about. Jumping of red light and so many other infractions. Some of them minor, but they kill.
Principal Manager of Planning and Programs of the National Road Safety Authority, Henry Asumani, disclosed that speeding contributes to 60% of all road collisions in the country. He used the following videos to illustrate his point.
As you approach here, your speed should be reducing because you are getting into an intersection And although it is green, as you pass here, you should reduce your speed. When you reduce your speed, because it's an intersection, there are a lot of activities there. It will help you to be able to avoid certain things. Did we all see that? Yes, the motor rider shouldn't have crossed the vehicle, but if the vehicle was going below the 30-kilometer speed limit, he could have avoided what? This motorcycle. Now he hit a motorcycle and ended up hitting other people around here. These are some of the causes of the speeds. Let's look at this one too. This is around Nima during one of their festive occasions. You see, this is as a result of speeding. He lost control. Then let's look at this one. You see that the vehicles have stopped for the pedestrians to cross, but because the truck was still speeding, he couldn't stop in time.
Our Powers Regional Commander of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Prince Gabriel Wabo, posited that with the implementation of the Traffic Technology Ghana, persons who infringes on traffic laws will not have people to intercede on their behalf, as was done in the past.
Now, it is not the human being who will stop you, the road user, you, the motorist, you, the bike user, whoever is committing any crime on the road. It is the camera that will capture you, and once the camera captures you, no human being is going to talk to you. It will come on your phone, or it will be in your letterbox for you to go and pay.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Now moving on, in a world where the pursuit of excellence and community service often take a back seat, the remarkable journey of girls from St. Monica's Senior High School in the Ashanti region is a testament to the transformative power of education and mentorship. Their journey began with the I Made It program, a comprehensive initiative designed by Smile for Child Ghana to nurture the holistic development of these young girls. Now, among its core components, character building sessions were held weekly, instilling values such as reliability, resilience, resourcefulness, and responsibility, fostering a culture of excellence in behavior. Another crucial element in their development was acquiring general knowledge, which entailed reading assignments during breaks and subsequent periodic tests. Through this period, the girls expanded their horizon with every page they turned. Mahmoud Nuruddin has more in the following report.
Vanessa, Lydia, Sandra, Georgina, Emanuela and Regina have defied all odds to become true community service champions. What truly sets these students apart is their strong sense of community service instilled by the I Made It program. Since 2021, they have been actively involved in a plastic waste recycling project within their school, collecting plastic waste on the school premises and packaging it weekly for sale to recycle companies. These young champions have not only contributed to environmental conservation but also learned valuable lessons in responsibility and teamwork. Sandra, 17, reflects on how the program helped them undertake community service. She emphasizes that the program not only honed their community skills but also helped them discover and develop their unique talents.
Through this program, we got to know the community skills. Yes, and we developed a lot of talent from it. It has helped me so much. We also gained some lessons through our facilitators. They taught us how to be responsible, how to be refined as girls, how to be resilient, and also how to do anything that we want to do. They have nurtured us, they have encouraged us, so as we are living here, we are also going out there to help the others.
For Sandra, the program transformed her from a shy individual to someone who can confidently interact with others, understand their challenges, and provide assistance.
Through Smile for Child Ghana, I've been able to know how to speak to people. I remember when I came here as a first-year student, I wasn't mingling with people. There were reserve type, always in my class. Even speaking to my mistresses, it was difficult for me. But through the training that I gained from Smile for Child Ghana, I've been able to come out, speak to people, and also learned how to help others. Since I was a reserve type, I wasn't giving much attention to people, but now I'm the outing type. I speak to people, I help them, I ask of their well-being.
Smile for Child Ghana, I made it program, has really made us feel at home always.
Vanessa, who is 18 years old, shares Sandra's enthusiasm. She believes the program made her courageous and outstanding despite the challenges and demands of the program. Vanessa describes the results as nothing short of amazing.
Smile for Child Ghana has made the girls more courageous and outstanding. A few of them were like they didn't communicate with the outside world, but right now everyone is smiling. They are all happy and they are able to appreciate what they've done for them. And to me personally, Smile for Child Ghana has helped me a lot. I didn't stay with my parents, but through Smile for Child Ghana, right now I'm with my parents happily, and they provide my car, my transportation fare, sometimes my provisions that I find difficult to find, and my tuition fees sometimes.
These two remarkable students are not alone in their sentiments. Their colleagues share similar feelings of enthusiasm and excitement, a testament to the transformative power of mentorship and community service. Patience Lawe, one of the facilitators at St. Monica's Senior High School, highlights the program's reformative impact on the girls despite the challenges they faced. She acknowledges that grooming, forming and nurturing young individuals is no easy task, but the dedication of these students has been truly remarkable.
This program has been very educative, and in fact it has been very good. It has helped nurture, form and train these young girls. But then I also have to admit that it has been very challenging. You know, grooming, forming girls, nurturing girls, it's not so easy. Sometimes getting them all together to perform a task, to do something, to do an assignment, it was not easy. But then through it all, they have made it. Just as our slogan says, smile, I made it.
Patience expresses her wish for the program to continue and support more brilliant yet needy girls. The journey of Vanessa, Sandra, Lydia, Georgina, Emanuela and Regina is a shining example of how education, mentorship and community.
You're still watching JoyNews Room with me, Carlos Kalori. Now, moving on, as part of effort aimed at promoting hand washing among school-going children, the Techuma Municipal School Health Education Program Unit of the Ghana Education Service has, together with the Ghana Health Service, held an educative program with selected schools in the Sansama community. Now, the initiative is aimed at creating awareness on the benefit of hand washing and encourage hygiene and reduce infections among children. Anna Sabit has more in the following report.
The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic necessitated unprecedented, significant and sustained infection prevention and control measures to reduce the risk of exposure and prevent transmission. Aggressive hand washing with soap and running water was among the various prevention protocols adapted to mitigate the spread of the pandemic. This hand-washing protocol, health experts say, reduces the transmission of microorganisms, increases patient safety, and decreases healthcare-associated infections. Sadly, however, rigorous hand-washing as seen in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic is slowly fading away, a situation that exposes many to several health risks. Techuma Municipal School Health Education Program Coordinator Mary Wuntuma, who, as part of the Global Hand Washing Day, instituting measures capable of sensitizing school children within the Sansama community on the need to adopt hand washing with soap and running water as a way of life.
After COVID, it looks as if we have reduced the hand washing, and you agree with me, when COVID came, a lot of diseases, especially diarrhea in Ghana, cholera, you never heard of it, and it was just because of proper hand washing. That is why we decided to come to Sansama, so that we'll educate these children how to wash their hands properly, and as they go back and their parents who come from the farm, they will also then give them the information of how to wash their hands properly and all the time.
She was quick to, however, admonish corporate institutions to reintroduce Veronica buckets at their premises and make hand washing part of their respective protocols.
So I think that in our banks and other institutions, we should be able to bring back Veronica buckets. So our institutions should keep on encouraging people to wash their hands by providing soap, water, and then tissue for all customers who come around to wash their hands, so we all live healthy.
Chief of the area, Nana Afna Yeboah, who acted as the chairman of the occasion, promised to serve as an ambassador for hand washing and is hopeful that the act, if adopted, will help minimize infections across the area.
We are going to campaign. In fact, from here, we are going to the parish to campaign to the people, to the communities. Yam festival, a poor festival, whatever it is, we are now going to inculcate it into our system so that wherever we meet, people will know the essence of washing hands or cleaning hands. So when that is done, definitely we are going to reduce disease and germs in our society. So we are going to do that. We will make sure that that is done in our various parishes and homes so that people will adopt that.
Assemblyman for Sansama electoral area, Nuhu Abdurazak, also emphasized that the move fits into his sanitation project and noted that enough education will be carried out to help sensitize the populace.
Being a stakeholder of this community, I'm going to take it right away from you. Already I started doing something, and this one too has also come to join. That means it is going to be a process, not an event. And that is to say that right from here, any occasion where I will have the chance, I will be educating the people the continuous way of washing hands before eating. And that is why, you know, if you want to speak to God, you speak to the children. We've just started with the children.
This year's Global Hand Washing Day was marked under the theme, Clean Hands Are Within Reach. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Tichman.
We take a break, we return with business. Stay with us. Now, welcome back. In business, consumers urge to be critical on quality items as Yuletide approach. Now, consumers have been urged to look out for substandard food items and reject them on the shelves to avoid health complications. This advice follows a caution from the African Development Bank over a massive aflatoxin infection in many grains on the market. Now, reacting to the concerns of quality foods, the Dean of School of Agriculture at the University of Ghana, Professor Irene Ejay, said consumers must make a conscious effort to insist on quality, especially on food items.
That is about training, but it's also about sensitization. We have to sensitize the people we call value chain actors. And they are researchers, they are policymakers, they are farmers, they are traders, they are processors, and they are consumers. Sometimes we leave out some of the actors, especially consumers. You see, we drive the market. So if consumers are thinking health and they are thinking quality, then they will ask for it. And that is where we call it the supply response. That is what we want to bring to the table. That it is not only one group of people called farmers that we should always be shouting at. Produce quality, produce quality. If you produce, you put it on the shelf and I don't buy, you ask why. The next time you put quality and I buy, that is when you continue to produce quality. So for me, as a Dean of the School of Agriculture, I have been part of this project because I want to hammer the issue of quality, especially driven by consumers.
And Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has announced government has increased financial support for some of its social intervention programs. The move is part of effort to lessen the impact of IMF program correction and fiscal consolidation on Ghanaians. Now, the Finance Minister has been giving more details on the approach the government has been adopting to cushion a lot of Ghanaians.
We are really looking at the Youth Start program to see how we can inject much more resources into that to enable, a sense of activity and options as to appropriate skills for people and access to financing at cost that at prices that make sense. So that we are looking to do. We've been able to maintain petrol prices within a certain ambit and pray that, you know, with the war in Israel and all of that, that does not get destabilized. It's a constant thought as to how for it to trickle down to Kojo the plumber. And I think it will take a bit of time, but we are moving in the right direction. We should have hope that we've done it before and we can and will do it again. But
any projections that you've given to us, though, because if you gauge the pulse of the market, people is like things are difficult and all the rest. Are there any projections, not dates, but listen, even when the policy rate goes down, there's a lag period. If these things should continue stabilizing, it's trending down, listen, in the next 6 months or 8 months, listen, that effect will be felt, because the concern is that things are still hard.
Yeah, acknowledge and very difficult. But we are going to come up with a growth plan with the budget, which will be read sometime in the middle of November, which will give, you know, indications and hope that we will be able to ensure that all of us are inclusively taken care of in the future. Even when you look at what we are doing with the fund, you can see that with the LEAP program, we have indexed it to make sure that we protect, you know, against inflation, and we are also increasing the number of people that may be eligible to it, to make sure that no one is really sort of left behind. Schools feeding rates are being increased, and affirmative action is something that we are also going to be really focused on. So within embedded in the program itself is really a good faith effort to make sure that we have a landing zone that is good for all. But in the end, you know, what do you do of the 23 to the 35? What do you do to the entrepreneur? What do you do to the SMEs? And that's where we'll be finding various packages for them.
Still in business, mining firm Perseus Mining Ghana Limited says it is committed to building a legacy that creates enduring social values for the communities it operates in through sustainable mining practices and development. Now, according to the company, after 11 years of operation, it is ready to expand its frontiers and infrastructure to create the necessary opportunities for both the company and the communities. There's more in the following report.
The mining company says its approach aligns with its overarching vision to prioritize the well-being of local communities, promote socio-economic development, and uphold environmental sustainability. General Manager of Perseus Mining Ghana Limited, Daniel Ejamensa, says by emphasizing the creation of long-term social values, Perseus Mining Ghana Limited seeks to build a mutually beneficial relationship with the communities, fostering a positive and sustainable impact on the local populace.
As far back as 2012, PMGL received approval from the Minerals Commission for the designation of 3 new mining areas, namely Fetish Mining Area, Esweja North Mining Area, and Esweja South Mining Area, all covering a total of 1,040 hectares of its iron-free mining lease area. As a mine, we are committed to building a legacy that creates enduring social values for our communities, coming out of our commitment to sustainable mining practices and development. After being in active operations over the past 11 years, it has now become necessary to develop an additional pit and its associated infrastructure to sustain the operation and extend the life of mine. In pursuit of this objective, PMGL, in accordance with the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 Act 703, applied to the Minerals Commission of Ghana.
yɛn nyinaa na bɛboa yɛ enti mɛsrɛ mo na mode di na ɛne di a mede to mo anim no momfa ma me meda mo ase
Nana Chairman Medawasi. Nana Chairman, I am happy to announce that after subjecting the application of the mine through its due diligence processes, the Minerals Commission has granted a new mining lease for the Edikan mine at Akosombo, covering a total of 289.63 hectares out of the Nananko mining lease for Edikan.
Dentra Kontihine Dr. Odiamono Intri Chumberima called on the company to report any issues they have with the communities so the company and the community can both live at peace. Pesos Mining Ghana Limited says its commitment to sustainable development underscores its recognition of the vital role played by responsible mining practices in fostering holistic growth and progress within the localities it operates.
And that's it for the bulletin. My name is Carlos Kaloni. Thank you so much for watching. Go on myjoyonline.com for more stories. Have a good afternoon.